I'm Ellis Martin. Join me for a conversation with Tim Termuende, the CEO and President of Taiga Gold Corporation, trading as TGC on the Canadian Stock Exchange and TGGDF on the OTC in the U.S. Taiga Gold Corp is a mineral exploration company focusing on gold in eastern Saskatchewan, Canada. The company's flagship project is the Fisher property, located adjacent to SSR Mining Seabee gold operation property and approximately 1.5 kilometers from the Santoy Mine itself. The Fisher property is bisected by the Santoy Shear Zone along its entire length, approximately 18 kilometers, and the nearby Santoy Mine is currently producing high-grade gold from the structure. Taiga Gold has joint ventured the Fisher property with SSR Mining, where they are undertaking significant exploration, including drilling with the intent of locating gold deposits for development and potential reserves. Tim, welcome back to the program. Nice to talk with you today.
Always great to be here, Ellis.
If you don't mind, give our listeners an overview of the company. We have new listeners all the time, and they'd sure like to know about Taiga Gold Corp.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Taiga. I'm going to give a little bit of history to our flagship property, which is the Fisher property. We staked the Fisher property actually by Eagle Plains Resources in 2013, and it was a priority target that we'd identified, and Saskatchewan significantly went to map staking in 2013, so there was a 6-month lead up to that. There was a lot of warning to people, and we did a lot of research and basically came down to our number one target was land just south of the Seabee gold operation in Saskatchewan. So staked that in 2013. We did about $400,000 in exploration on our own. And then in October 2016, we optioned the property to Silver Standard Resources, which subsequently changed their name to SSR Mining. Silver Standard did a little bit of preliminary work in 2016, 2017. In the meantime, we saw that the Fisher property was actually developing very nicely and started to see a lot of potential on it. And the value of the Fisher property sort of rose above the value of the rest of the Eagle Plains stable of projects. So in keeping with Eagle Plains' MO as a corporation, we spun out Taiga Gold in 2018 and gave 1 share of Taiga Gold for every 2 shares of Eagle Plains to our shareholders. So it was effectively a dividend to our shareholders, which Eagle Plains has done a number of times over the years. Silver Standard has been doing significant work over the years to the point where in early 2021, they had spent enough money and done enough work to basically form the joint venture. They exercised the option, formed a joint venture, became an 80-20 ownership in the Fisher project. With that notification of the joint venture, Taiga got a check for $3 million. That was in January this year. So it was kind of a watershed event for us. Over the years now, SSR, while they were earning it, has spent roughly $15 million on the property itself and given $3.8 million in cash to Eagle Plains originally and then to Taiga after the spinout. They've done over the years about 120,000 feet of drilling in 95 holes. And they've basically proven what we were hopeful of is that the mineralization along the Santoy Shear, which is being mined right now in the Seabee gold operation, has pods of mineralization that seem very, very similar to the Santoy deposit itself. They discovered the Mac North Zone, which has seen a fair bit of drilling activity, and the Yin Zone, both along the Santoy Shear, both have abundant visible gold. A couple of highlight numbers from the Mac North Zone, 7.25 grams of gold over 5.1 meters in hole 65. Within that interval, there was 23 grams over 1.5 meters. Along the trend from there, 10 grams over 1 meter, and another 100 meters from that, 9.1 grams over 1.9 meters. They've stated recently, actually, SSR has stated that the mineralization at the Mac North Zone is identical in geology and alteration to zones they're mining right now at Santoy Gap and the 8 deep zones. They're in production at the Santoy deposit right now. So, we're very, very encouraged that they were able to prove that the Santoy Shear isn't a one-off. Also on the Santoy Shear, closer to the property boundary is the Yin Zone that they discovered. The Yin Zone, again, has great grades, 10.3 grams per ton over 2.5 meters. 250 meters from that hole, there was another hole that ran 13.7 grams over 2.3 meters. So these things are showing to be high-grade zones that are very, very similar to what's in production now. So we're hoping that mineralization from the Fisher property eventually finds its way into the mill. And there's kind of significant news yesterday from SSR, just put out a news release. And in that, they've confirmed that the Fisher property is very important to SSR and has the potential to provide mill feed well beyond the Seabee gold operation area. So we're very encouraged by that statement itself. And basically, that's been held up by the commitment that they have made to the project so far. So a lot of money spent. What was also really interesting in the news release that they put out yesterday yesterday is the Joker Zone, which they've discovered recently. On surface at the Joker Zone is only about 400 meters north of our property boundary. So it's right on the doorstep to the Fisher property. And they've done a little bit of limited drilling on that, not near as much as the Mac North and other zones on our property, but early results from that Joker Zone have been very, very encouraging. And one of the holes they reported was 37.9 grams over 3.6 meters. Within that interval, 183 grams over a meter. So, that thing is really holding together nicely right on the doorstep of Fisher. And we're hoping with further work that will be traced down to the Fisher boundary and beyond into the Fisher property. So we're very encouraged by that. Some of the soiling in between where they've drilled and where our property boundary is, there were soil samples that ran up to 7 grams per ton. So, and rock samples that ran up to 29 grams per ton. So very, very encouraging for us. And we're standing by to see what comes next. There is drilling planned for the winter. We are also awaiting right now results from 7 drill holes that were drilled in June and July of this year by SSR, or by the joint venture, I should say. We're now participating with exploration with SSR. So waiting to see results from that. We're just very encouraged by future potential and very happy with the work that's been done to date. The SSR geological team are first class. It's nice to see an exploration team that actually has ties to an operating mine. So they know exactly what they're looking for. They've seen it underground, so they can easily relate what they see on surface to what we hope someday will be developed underground. To date, Ellis SSR's exploration team has made 4 significant discoveries along the Santoy Shear, and we're hopeful that at some point these will be part of the growth pipeline for the Seabee gold operation.
What does this mean for the future of the company with numbers like this, consistent grades in the teens and the 20s, in some cases in the low 30s with regard to grade with these holes in the Joker target and Mac North, etc.? What does this mean?
Well, it's really interesting because SSR, Silver Standard, when they first purchased the mine, it had a very limited mine life. Since they bought the mine, they actually did about $100 million in improvements to the mill itself. So they've made that mill even hungrier. And so they've created themselves a situation where they've only got a runway of reserves right now of 5 to 6 to 7 years, something like that. So, if they want to keep their investment going, they're obviously driven to do that. The cash costs at the Seabee operation are remarkably low. They're all in sustaining costs. The last reported numbers were like $570 US an ounce. So you can see the margins for production there at Seabee are substantial. And, when you've got a project like that puts out that kind of money, you want to keep it going as long as you can, obviously. So they've done a lot of exploration over the years on the Seabee Gold project itself, but they're kind of running out of room. If they want to keep that mine going for a long time, they have to find more ore. And just geographically, because our project adjoins their project, we're the place to go look for more. The property boundary is only 1.5 kilometers from the Santoy decline. We're right next door and we're the obvious place to get more ore. And as they've proven at the Mac North and the Yin and other areas that haven't seen a lot of work yet, the potential for ore from the Fisher is actually very good. And we are very happy to see that actually stated recently by SSR.
What kind of track record does SSR have with absorbing companies like yours?
SSR pre-merger had done a deal with Golden Arrow in one of their projects down in Argentina, I believe. And so they have shown a track record of wanting to consolidate the operation. And we're hopeful that we'll see that again at Fisher. I mean, the whole objective of spinning out Taiga was to, we kind of joke that the company was built to be bought, and we've sort of set it up so that it's easy for another company to absorb us, to again reward our shareholders with shares, hopefully in another bigger company that has a lot of liquidity and a lot of upside potential.
So as shareholders, potential shareholders listening to this program, what can we expect during the next few months?
Short term would be results from the last round of drilling on the Fisher property. Longer term, sort of 3 to 4 months down the road, we expect to see more drilling over the winter. Taiga isn't a one-trick pony. We've got a number of other projects, like 5 other projects that SSR is not involved in. So we're advancing those at the same time as work's being done on Fisher. A couple of those have option partners. A couple of them don't. So the destiny of those projects is in our hands completely. So we've got a very strong treasury right now. We're still under 100 million shares outstanding. We have a treasury of over $4 million right now. So we've got a lot in the war chest to do a lot of work that we want to do. Same time, we're more than able to contribute our share of joint venture costs. So we're in a very good position right now moving forward. We'd like to see gold move up. It's anybody's guess if that's going to happen. But right now, even gold prices as they are make the Seabee gold operation extremely profitable. And again, anybody that owns a cash cow like that wants to keep it going as long as possible.
Tim, give us an overview of the share structure.
Yeah, we're under 100 million shares outstanding. I think about 120 fully diluted. We've got some major blocks of shares in very safe hands. In fact, Eagle Plains, as the parent company, retained 12 million shares of Taiga. So Eagle Plains has, 13, 14% interest. We've got another investment group, Red Plug Capital, who recently participated in a financing 4 or 5 months ago that has roughly 10 to 12 million shares. Insiders, directors and insiders, bring it up to give or take the 30% level of shares outstanding. We've got Tech Corporation as a shareholder. So we're quite happy with the structure. We've always been very frugal and cost effective, and we've always been very mindful of dilution, both in Eagle Plains and in Taiga. So I'd like to say that the share structure is quite sound, and particularly at the point where we are getting close to resource definition at Mac North and hopefully in other targets on the trend, that for a micro cap junior, I think we're in very, very good shape. Again, strong treasury, over 4 million in treasury. So we're really positive about the future and very happy with the situation we're finding ourselves in now.
Tim, it's always great to chat with you. I look for more information in the coming weeks. Thanks so much for joining us today in the program.
All right. Thank you, Ellis.
I've been speaking with Tim Termuende, the president and CEO of Taiga Gold Corp, trading as TGC on the Canadian Securities Exchange and TGGDF on the OTC in the U.S. Find the company on the web at taigagold.com. That's TAIGA gold.com. I'm Ellis Martin.
You may assume that Ellis Martin is a shareholder on any of the companies that sponsor the Ellis Martin Report, which means he has a vested interest potentially in them.